If we go back to the fact that you mentioned, networking ideologies, one can say that they can spark tensions in a region due to the conflicting ideologies, which sometimes are all about different cultures and how these different approaches in cultures are utilized by the political leaders of the nations in the region to form an ideology. But if we go a little bit more global regarding China and Russia, how would you capture what you call as the Chinese Neoconfucianism and Russian Neoeurasianism?
So when I talk about networked ideologies, what I'm talking about, and this is the subject of my book that's going to come out next summer, the networked ideologies is a new way of thinking and interpreting how ideas become material in security politics. And that might sound sort of simple, but what we're looking at is after the end of the Cold War and sort of into the 90s, there was this general opinion that ideology has been declared dead, that anybody that sort of thinks that ideology is still relevant belongs to, an old world that doesn't exist anymore. And what we're seeing, in my view and my research, is that instead of converging with the globalist narrative, we're actually seeing ideologies diverge from it. And so when we look at how we're understanding ideology and why I think it's so important, it's because it's something that permeates every facet of our society. And so the way I actually redefine ideology is to talk about the way ideas become material and then how those material structures actually create actions, policy, right? And so that you actually can see the tangible effects. And so if you look at China and just say that China is an authoritarian country or a communist country, right, which doesn't do it justice at all, what you actually are seeing is this very complex resonance between the general population, between socio-political elites, and then the state's control mechanisms all together working to create this new structure. And what binds this together in China's case is actually the recognition that the Communist Party in China is not able to just bring all of Chinese society together under the banner of Marxism. They need something that's pure and wholesome and actually ethnically Chinese. And that's where you get this Neo-Confucianist movement. The same thing can be applied to Russia, where you look at what's happening now, and the reason I call it Neo-Eurasianism is because you're seeing, in the case of Russia, what's called the Russian world, the Ruski Mir, which basically has Orthodox Christianity, the Russian language as a means to bring the Russian diaspora together, and sort of this worldview of Russia being at the center, and the sort of threat from what they're talking about today as sort of this Western turn from Christian values and morality, and sort of this narrative that's being turned around for Russia. So, and there's more to that. This is happening in the United States. This is happening elsewhere in Europe. It's a theory that I think is going to be very useful to explaining some of these complex dynamics that we're seeing in the world today. And it's a way for us to understand, I think, how important and central these ideas are to policy, which sometimes just gets lost in the details.
You're absolutely right. A nation cannot hide away from its culture. And I wouldn't call it, in the case of China, Neo-Confucianism. I would call it Confucio-communism.